Hey, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a very short subject, and that is estimates and quotes. And this is less of the legalities of it, but more of the practicalities of it. Because I get asked this a lot. It's become an interchangeable word. It's like, should I be submitting an estimate? Should I be submitting a quote? I want to tell you what I do, why I do it, and how I do it. So there's two types of job, I feel, that come into me. Now, the work that comes into Tin House Studio, if it's an invoiceable job, as it were, it'll be a brand saying, could you do something with this in the background? Take this bag. That's not where it is. Over here. Take this bag. This is an M42 bag. It's an M24 bag. Luckily, they're not paying me, but say that bag brand wanted to pay to have that bag in the background. It's still not over there. They wanted it in the background. They would say, how much would it cost to have it in the background? And I would give them a quote. I would say something like, for a channel of my size, it will cost £400 to have your bag in the background. Now, just be really clear here, M24 not paying me. That bag, there we go. That bag was a gift from my girlfriend. They're made out of lorry tarpauling. They're very cool. I think they do drops, so you can only buy them when they're there, and then they all disappear really quickly. It's the trendy thing to do. Now, that is because the reason I'd give them a quote is because it's a very set thing. They want the bag in the video. There's no changes going on here. There's no variables. Now, photo shoots don't work like that. A photo shoot can have a lot of scope, and the work I do as myself, as the professional photographer, so away from YouTube and away from Tin House Studios, it might be something like this. We need 8 shots, which look something like this, for out-of-home usage in the UK for 1 year, and we need it doing by this date. Now, there's a lot of variables here. That's like the broad, brief description, and we're going to do another video about what clients let you know before a shoot, so do hit subscribe if you want to see that. But from this here, I can't be certain what's going to happen, so I'm not going to give a finite quote. We're going to estimate. We're going to make assumptions. We're going to say, we think with the information you've given us, this is what it's going to cost. This is how we'd go about it. So we put in the estimate, well, it's going to take 2 days to shoot that. And then we're going to need this much money for retouching. And then we start doing a line item list of everything which needs to happen. And we put in what we expect it to cost. Now, with an estimate, things can change, as with a brief. So on the shoot day, they might go, there's a 9th photograph. Now, if we're pushed to the wall and we're stuck, we're going to go, okay, we're going to have to adjust the estimate. Let's do that now and get written sign off before we move forward. An estimate's a really good way to protect yourself, because at any point when there is like scope creep, which is when whatever they've asked for sort of changes, you can go, yeah, we can do that. Let me adjust the estimate. And sometimes we actually come in under the estimate. And actually, I try to aim for that if I can at all, because it's always good for the agency to go to the client, you know what, we've done it on time, and we're below budget. Now I wouldn't cut corners to do this, but if you can do it, then it's a good thing to do. The other time an estimate is good is if the client goes, only 6 of the products have turned up, and there's supposed to be 8 products being shot. And you'll be like, right, okay, well, we can remove 2 shots worth of retouching, but we can't send any crew home 2 shots early because we've got to pay them by the day. So here is the savings. Would you like something different doing with the stuff we've got now? We've got some additional time. Would you like to revisit this? Would you like a different angle of this shot? It's a really good way to kind of keep the entire day together, kind of keep it in check with this estimate here as your reference point where you can go, because an estimate is not just money, it's time as well. It's going to take 2 days and it's going to cost this much. And that is your bartering tool throughout the shoot. When anything changes, for better or worse, you can go, let's refer to the estimate. Now, once the shoot is finished, you need to reconcile all the expenses, all of the line items, and then you give the invoice, and that is the final bill. Now, in the UK, in between this point, you get what's called a purchase order number. And if you're starting out in photography, generally when you get paid from small companies, they just pay you. But the purchase order number over here is like the big thing which you must get. And we'll often get production costs up front. And say, for example, because my maths is rubbish, the shoot is £10,000 and we get £5,000 of that was production cost. It probably isn't, but just assume. And then the estimate, which was 10 grand, we only actually spend 9 of it. They'll only pay 4 grand on the balance. But say there's been a change in the estimate and we've actually spent 12 grand, they will spend 7 grand on the balance. So that's kind of how it works in that sense. Now, this is by no means business advice. This is just letting you know how I personally work between estimates and invoices and how I see them. Now, this is not actually legally how they work, and you need to check your own country, and in the States, you need to check your own state because the legalities change within that. It's a very complex world in America with contracts and finances. But I think it's a good way to look at things, and it's a good way to view the overall like running of a shoot. And I find it a really useful tool for any sticky situations. As soon as you're on a shoot and someone's like, can we just try this? And you go, let me check the estimate and see what we need to adjust. They very suddenly change their mind and go, yeah, we don't really need it. Or if they're umming and ahhing about a sign off and you go, in order to stick to the estimate, we need to sign off within the next 5 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to have to change the estimate. All of a sudden, people sign things off very quickly. It's a great way to push them, because as soon as money's a factor, as soon as they go, we want to get 3 different angles of this shot here, you can go, no worries, let's adjust the estimate and then we'll get sign off for that. As soon as they realize it's not for free, they're like, actually, we don't really need that. I was just trying to get something extra. So it's a very good way for us photographers to protect ourselves. If you have any questions about this sort of thing, let me know in the comments below and I'll try and make another video like this. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.